I intend to develop myself in the positive manner and to avoid inherent future my mental growth or my physical health. Number 2. I intend to develop self-discipline in order to bring the best of myself and others. Number 3. I intend to use my learning class constructively and offensively to help myself, my fellow men, and never be abusive or offensive. Curtsies! On the mirror, Maya. All right, so really quick, let's go through the terminology. The handle is referred to as the suba. The guard of the handle is referred to as the suka. The home of my katana is called a saya. So when we're drawing the sword, the katana, I'm going to grab the suba by the suka and pull it out of the saya. And when we do that, it's called bato. And then if we're playing fruit ninja, and I just chopped the watermelon in half, and I have to shake the watermelon juice off, it's called shiburi. And if I drop the sword on my foot, and I no longer have it, or when I put it back in the shoulder, it's called right? Key detail. This way or this way? Blade up, blade down. Blade up. So the curve should go up. If on the wooden swords, because some of the wooden swords are pretty thick, like plastic swords are pretty thick. So you may already have that. I am looking at the whole thing. So if you have you guys all have pretty things. But if you have one of the thicker wooden ones, sometimes it's hard to tell kind of where the curve is other than you just look at the curve, right? Or if right? And if you have a hard time looking at this and going, well, which way is up and which way is down, then you might want to take just like a silver Sharpie and run it along. Run it along the edge of the blade so that you can look at, you know, okay, well, there's the blade, right? Or along the back of it, whichever way you want to do it, so you just know for sure which way is which, right? So that when I have it here, I'm not going this way thinking that my blade is down up, because it's right now down. Make sense? Oh. Sorry. All right, so let's practice bato. So again, it's on your side. So remember, you would twist your wrist outwards a little bit, which turns the curve away from your body. Okay. I grab the suba by the suka, and then I push on my thumb with the thumb on the suka also to release it from the saya if you happen to have the saya. And then we draw, which is again called bato, and that's basically like a horizontal strike. I'm striking flat across. And then my palm, I'm just simply going to turn it up, and then I let the sword drop, and then I make a circle from the back to the front, making sure the blade is cutting forward. And again, we call that shiburi, which is the blood shape, or the watermelon juice shape for playing fruit ninja, right? And shaking the blood, just like if I have water on my hands, you do this to shake the water off. It's not a slow motion. Your hand's still going to be like fast, right? So when I do that, it's meant to be fast so I can get whatever kind of moisture is off of my blade, right? And then the back of the blade hits your thumb as I draw it across my thumb and find the opening of the saya. And then once I do, the sword goes in the saya just a little bit, and then I bring the saya up the sword and then replace it back at my thumb, right? So practice it on your own. Grab the super by the super, turn your wrist outward, bato. Turn the palm up, and then shiburi, and then put it back. So you can do it without looking. Yoto, right? Practice on your own and think about that terminology as you're doing. Grab the super by the super, and bato. Shiburi, and then yoto. No, you don't want to touch the blade with your fingers, right? It's tarnish. You don't want to run the blade finely tuned into it. That's for cutting the skin. Or watermelon. Well, here's the thing. A coconut is really, really hard. So you probably could cut a coconut now. So you'd be better off using the Filipino blade. They're meant for chop. Yes? Turning your wrist along. Turn your wrist out. Now I draw. turn your wrist out. Yes, there you go. Oh, okay, I'm going to this. And then part of the jump. So now we want to use here. Sort of the back and sort of the thumb. As much as you can, this to your hip, right? You know, the sword is what longer in your arm, so you can get all the way reach. But trying to keep it support to your body at the time. When you start drawing it, you just keep it there. Keep your hand right up to your hip. And that's where it gets hard, just because it's so long. And then with the hand, the way I'm going to do is the thumb's here, so I have to lift my thumb up a little bit, just so it's above the thigh. This way. That's kind of how I feel, almost like slide across the hand, and then once it comes off of the hand, then I know I'm good there. There you go. So you're going to first slide will drop forward, vertical, start putting it back. I would leave my thumb here, I would lift my thumb up. Your hand, your thumb should be on the inside. Where my thumb is, that should go on the inside. Closer to the top. Now I can lift my thumb up a little bit and slide it across. Couple more moments, and then we're going to start with the cuts, and then we're getting into some cutting combinations today. We're going to send out. There's no here to do it. Time. All right, so one more time. I grabbed the suba by the suka and pull it out of the, which is called ato, or the drawing of the sword. Now, the other thing too is keep in mind this isn't me just shaking it off. It's a full circle. If you watch from the side, right, I'm here, I turn the wrist, the sword comes down, and then it's a whole full circle, right? You get the bottom of the result. My saya stays against the waist, and then I go off. So the opening and the slide. Right? So just something to keep working on. From here, let's go into the basic cuts, and then I want to get into some cutting combinations today that I hope they'll be into the form that we're going to be working. Right? So set your sides off to the side you have them, and we're going to start out first. Quick review. This cut is the vertical cut. Right. Here's the way to think of it. When I look way out yonder and I watch the sun setting in the distance, I'm looking at it set in the horizon. Very good, the horizon. This is horizontal, right? So I always remembered it because I'd be like, vertical, and then I just went, oh, like the horizon, this is horizontal. And then this is easy diagonal. And if this is horizontal, that makes that vertical, process of elimination. Good job. So vertical cut. And as I do the vertical cut, straight through the center of my body, and I want you to be in a hard bow stance, which I really can't do yet. But I'm getting in a wide stance, my hand comes over the head, and then straight down to the center. Over the head, straight down to the center. I extend the sword at first. I bring the handle this way as my hand comes into my body. But don't be too tense where you're like, right? Let it flow, and then stop it at the end. Flow, stop at the end. Okay? On your own, 30 seconds, go. Like 30 seconds to one side, 30 to the other side. Hopefully my lights doesn't die. I will take 25 minutes. Mass. Good. This is your first time. Just a little bit lower. Yes. That's like the perfect endpoint right here. And right on the center, and sort of on the line of it. Keep a good strong stance. Everybody switch your feet now. We're going to go 30 seconds through the other side forward. Instead of leaning heavy on my front foot, go this way so the students can see as well. So instead of me leaning heavy on my front foot this way, it should be pretty balanced. So my stance is pretty balanced, and I can bend this leg. It doesn't have to be a locked out hard ball until I get towards the end, right? But a pretty balanced stance. From here, and then cut here, cut here, cut. But my weight is staying over the top of my hips as opposed to getting heavy to the front foot, right? Other side forward, go. There, which is there. Switch, so similar to here. Let's see it, Shivansh. Straight down the center. Come straight over the top of your head. Right now you're coming like over your shoulder this way. Right, bring it straight over the head, straight down. Like if you had a mirror, you'd actually be chopping yourself right in half. Yes, much better. That's it. Good. All right, so now the next one, I drop it to my shoulder, and then I come from my shoulder to my hip, which we call diagonal cut, right? So I start in the same spot, drop just a little, and then here, right? My right arm is going to extend as my left hand comes in, and I stop right at my hip, right? Instead of my sword following all the way through over here, we're just doing it as a single cut. So as soon as I get to this hip, my hand stops, right? Make sense? Do it with we'll go right side forward, and you're coming from your right shoulder to your left hip. Right shoulder to the left hip. Good one. Good. Right shoulder to the left hip. And make sure it's diagonal, not horizontal. Sweet. More vertical than horizontal. Remember, you want to have a wide stance. Most of you guys have pretty light swords. An actual samurai sword would be more like 2 pounds. This thing right there, 6 ounces. Maybe they weigh 12. And now switch your feet. Sure, switch your feet. Still the same grip. Don't switch your grip. The right hand is always on the top. So now I start over the top. I drop to my left shoulder, and now I cut down towards my right hip. That's right? And you're off. Go. Yeah. Hear those things sing. Yeah. There you go. There you go. Nice, Sonny. Don't move your stance, Sonny. Instead of leaning so deep forward into it, keep your stance solid, right? So you guys can see a little bit better from the side view. I'm here, my hips stay forward, I do the cut, and my arms move, but my hips aren't going to rotate through. And my face stays here instead of leaning into it. Here, cut, and then sword, and feet small. That's better. There you go, Shivansh. Totally kidding. It's my big foot tripping on stuff. So 4 inches longer than usual. We're walking with the foot around. So you get this way. When I'm walking, you're fast going in. This is my fault. I didn't do it. All right, time. So now we're going to go to the horizontal cut. With a horizontal cut, I'm going to drop, I'm going to cut across, and this could go to the body, but it's going to tend to be more across the shoulders, right? Because I'm going to think like Red Queen. What would Red Queen say? Up to the head, right? So I'm going to cross this way and then back. Again, with this move, instead of rotating and following all the way through here, think economy of motion. If I make contact, where does my sword need to stop after the cut? Right here, right? I'm already through. If here's the pole, I'll do this a couple angles so you guys can see. I'm cutting through the pole. Anything past this is a wasted motion, unless I'm bringing it through to make another cut, right? But if it was one cut from here, that's as far as I have to go, right? So again, from this side, so the Zoom team can see a little bit. If I'm here, once I get to here, I'm through. There's no reason for me to come all the way over to here. That all of this is wasted energy, wasted motion, right? Unless I'm coming through because I'm swinging back the other way, or I'm coming through for my next cut, right? But as an individual cut, which is what we're doing right now, I want to think I drop, I cut through the target, and that's it. So translated without the pole, right, is I'm here, I drop, and I get just passed through, my sword is still forward instead of swinging all the way over here, right? Regardless of which way I go, right? And you'll find certainly this way it's harder to rotate that far anyway, whereas this way I can easily rotate. Notice also the stance. I'm here, I cut, my stance still stays forward. I'm not going to rotate through. I'm here, I cut, the stance is still forward, so I'm still facing this person. If they come through the cut, I can fly, then I might move. But as an individual cut, it just stays there, right? I want you to, with this one, alternate between one side and the other. So you can put right side forward, and you come up, and then flat across, and then up, and then flat across on the other side. Up, flat across, up, flat across. All right? Good work. Yeah. Good sign. Alternate, go to the other side of that. So always start over the top. Up. Over the head. This is like always the starting position. For now. Good, Sonny. Shivansh, always start right straight back over your head. So as you're doing this, I'm always going to go from here over the head and then cut. And then over the head and then cut. So I always go right back to that same starting position. Get all the way up over the head first now. See where you just brought over the shoulder. Here. Over the head. And time. All right, so now the purpose of always going over the head, there are several different positions, and I forget what they all were back when we were all studying this and figuring it out, but they might start here, these positions, it could be, I'm starting from this position, straightforward, over the head. I like the overhead one just for training purposes, because from here, every one of the cuts can start from that position, right? And without going into a big long story, years ago I was influenced to, when I spar, to have my tuck, especially for point sparring, way back in the day, my tuck was always the same. It didn't matter if I was going to throw a front kick, side kick, hook kick, or roundhouse kick. I would always bring my knee up and I would be ready to kick, right? And from here I could throw my roundhouse, I could throw my side kick, I could throw my hook kick, I could turn that into a front kick. Which meant all that you knew when I did this was that I was about to kick you. But you had no clue where I was about to kick you. And so it was easy for me in point sparring to bring my leg up, pause for a second, I'd watch a person drop their foot, and I'd go, poof, I'd hit them with a roundhouse. Or if they dropped this hand, then I could hit them with a hook. Or if they put their hands up because they knew I could kick the head, I'd bring my knee up high and I'd stop them over the side kick instead. Right? They never knew where it was going to come from because the tuck was what Bill Wallace called the universal tuck. And same thing with here. If I go this way, you don't know if I'm going to come straight down, if I'm going to quickly change this angle, if I'm going to come that angle, if it's going to come this side, or if it's going to come that side, right? I can do every one of those from the exact same position. Does that make sense? Yeah. So that's why I want you to think over the head and then cut across. Just in case you ever get in a war where we need to use katanas, we want to be able to do that, right? Of course. So from here going into combinations. Now when you do the cutting combinations, ideally the sword floats. Because for me to cut, again, keep in mind that the wouldn't be this light. It would be a 2-pound sword. For me to cut here, bring it back up and cut here, number one, is a lot of extra energy. Number two is it stops the flow. It's going to be slow. I'm better off, instead of going here and then here, to go from here, let it swing through and then come from there. It's going to take much less energy on my part, and it's going to be just as fast because of how heavy this is to try and bring it back up. Make sense? So first one we're going to do is just simply going to be, we're going to go horizontal right into the vertical cut. So you're going to start from your right shoulder, and actually we'll do this. We're going to go bato. We're going to put the drawing of the sword into it, and then we're going to come over the head, and you're going to step forward with your left side. Horizontal, vertical, right? And then step back and bring it back to your hip again. Step out with the right side, bato. Grab the sword with the left, bring it over your head, step forward with the left foot, and then you're going to go horizontal into vertical. And then step back and do it again. Step out right, bato. And then come up and go horizontal, vertical. And then step back. And step out, bato. Grab the sword over the head, horizontal, vertical. Vertical, horizontal. Step out, bato. And horizontal, vertical. Back. And again, bato. And then up, horizontal, vertical. Yes. Draw. And actually from here, yeah, you're still going to go over. It's not going to be this over. It's going to be from here. It's going to be kind of flowing over the head and then straight down, right? So practice that on your own. So Zoom team, because you guys probably couldn't hear me quite as well all the way up there. So actually we'll walk through it again back here where the Zoom team can see what I'm doing and they can hear me. So again, sword on the left. You're going to step out with the right bato. And then grab the sword, come over your head first, and then you're going to go horizontal and then vertical. And then step back and do it again. Step out with the right foot, bato. And then you're going to bring it up and go horizontal, vertical. And then back, and again, bato. Horizontal, vertical, right? So practice that one. I'm going to give you about a minute. We're going to put through these next couple combinations pretty fast because I wanted to get more time on them, but I also wanted to get them and we don't have enough time, but I want to get them. So on your own, please go. Yeah. Sound. Nice, Sonny. Sonny, start with your feet together, and then if I go back there, you might not hear. Start with your feet together, step out with the right foot on bato, step forward with the left foot as you go horizontal, vertical. And then step forward with the left. There you go. Time. All right, so now from here, start with bato again. Bato. And now you're going to step again with your left, start horizontal, and then you're going to go diagonal And then you step through to the right foot, you go vertical. Vertical. See how? Vertical. So again, bato. And then step forward to the left, horizontal, diagonal, and then step through vertical. Right? Now notice as I'm doing this, I go here, and then I step forward. Notice the path of the sword never stops. The full circle, and then I stop, right? So instead of going horizontal, and then I stop it to go diagonal, and then I stop it to go vertical, ideally it's here, and it's 1, 2, 3. There's no break in that motion, right? Off of that, 1, 2, 3, go to full circle, into that, right? Everyone see that? Right? And you're off, go! So for Zoom team, in case you couldn't hear, we're going bato, and horizontal, as you step to the left, diagonal, bring it by your left hip, step to the right foot, as you go vertical. Bato, horizontal, diagonal, vertical. Well, it just keeps on going. Just keep on flowing. Diagonal, vertical. That's it, Shivansh. In between your diagonal and vertical, make just a little bit bigger of a circle. Let the sword travel right behind you. Nice, Sonny. Really good. Still a little bit more. So watch, you might not have been able to see it as well from up there. So which way can you see the travel? This way. So you're going to go from the horizontal cut, horizontal, it comes around, diagonal. Now look how the point goes all the way behind me as I come to vertical, right? Let that go from diagonal to vertical. It's a full circle as you get to that. And time. All right, so your homework assignment is going to be to continue to practice those couple of cuts as best you can, or couple of combinations. I can tell you just what I did when I practiced with sword a lot. When we first started bringing this into the system years ago, I literally sat in the dojo. I can't even tell you how long going, making sure I could hear this. And I can tell you I'm nowhere near as good as the basics as I used to be. And then I would do the same thing with diagonal, same thing with horizontal. And then when we started doing the cutting combinations, it was I would go, hear it, I could hear it. And then I would get into where I'm going together with them. And I would try and get that sing on both of them. And if I didn't get it, then I would go back and do it again. My hearing used to be much better, and then I can't really hear it too well now. And then the same thing as I went to the diagonals. I would just sit there and I would drill it. I made sure I had each one down before I start to get to the next one that were more advanced, right? And so just do as much as you can on your own. And then the other thing that'll kind of help you get ready for next week is going from one diagonal to the next. And what I mean by that is going from here and then retracing it and coming back to here, right? But trying to think really retracing. So instead of here to here, I'm going to cut. I come right back along the same path and I cut. Right back along the same path and cut. Right back along the same path. So instead of just coming up and doing the diagonals here, almost like a ribbon, right? You guys all seen like the cancer ribbons and all the other ribbons that are out there. So I cut this way and I follow right along that same path to come back to here. Bring the sword back up over the top of the head. It kind of passes through this position, but it gets to that position circularly and it cuts to the other. Circularly and it cuts to the other. Make sense? All right, very good. Everyone. Switch swords to the ready. I don't know if that's really a thing, but it sounds good. Relax stance. Loud and proud as a dedicated student of martial arts. I live by the principles of life. Well, modesty, courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. What is goal? Neutral stance. Submission, set, proceed, out, impact martial arts. Very good. Sorry. And then Matthew, and then Sana, and then Rita. You'll probably hang out and you can go. And then that bird guy. Come on up. Mr. Niche. Yeah. Just try it. Started like strictly geared up the road a little bit and started driving. And I said, what? I said, I'm not even just where are you commuter right now while I'm driving? I was veering out of my lane. Don't tell my mom she did that. Where did she do that? She just left that.